Hey guys, it's Paul Dwayne from Chalk Fitness, and today I want to talk about how injury happens. So we're going to talk about this as load versus capacity. Too often when people get injured, they blame the last rep for the injury. So you're in the gym, you've done 100 deadlifts and you get injured, you blame the last rep for that injury. Or you're on the rower and your back feels a little bit tight, and then you move on to wall balls and then finally come to a snatch, and the snatch is the rep that hurts your back. So this style of thinking is akin to walking into a bar, drinking 20 pints, taking a shot of tequila, and saying the tequila put me out on my ass. We have to understand that there's a lot more going on. So on this graph, this dotted line represents your current capacity. Anytime we go over this line, it's going to be a problem, or it might represent pain. Anytime we go under the line, there's no problem, no pain. So we could think about this as a physical load. All right, as in your capacity. So take your 1 rep max press. Let's say it's 50 kilos. If we put 51, 52, 53 kilos on the bar, you're over your capacity, that's a problem. If we put 49, 48, 47 kilos on the bar, that's under your capacity, that's not a problem. So we're going to use the same style of thinking when it comes to pain. So what we need to understand is that before we came to the gym, we have already placed load on our system. We've already ate into our capacity. And what we have here is a pre-existing load. We have this the moment we wake up in the morning, before we get our foot out of bed. There's 3 areas to this. Anatomical defects is your first. These are injuries that we carry with us to the gym. So this could be like a bulging disc or a torn meniscus or a broken arm. These are things that we can't really change, and they place a load on our system. Now, if there's anyone else in the world who has that same anatomical defect but does not have pain, the same could be possible for you. So this may not actually be contributing towards your pain. The second box is your ability to recover, your SDS, your sleep, your diet, and your stress. So if we are very stressed, whether it be work or financials or relationships, if we're not getting at least 7 hours per night of sleep, and if we have a very poor diet, that's going to place more of a load on our system. Some great coaches will say if you get 6 hours sleep or less per night, you should not be training that day. All right, and that corresponds back to this graph. The third is what we call your functional diagnosis. This is what we refer to in our movement screen here at Chalk, and what we're referring to is your flexibility, your mobility, and your strength imbalances. These are things that don't immediately show up, but can prove to be painful as we go further through the reps. This is why you can do a deadlift pain-free, but once we add in 21, 15, 9 deadlifts, you start getting back pain. All right, so these show up, but not immediately. So these are pre-existing loads, okay? We have this the moment we wake up. Then we get out of bed, we might commute for an hour to get to work. We might have a manual labor job, or we might sit at a desk for 8 hours, and then we come home and then we come to the gym. So we've already had quite a large amount of stress on our body. In the gym, we're doing deadlifts, and then we have a workout. We have a long row, lots of wall balls, and then we're going to finish with some snatches. You reach or go beyond your capacity, and you get injured. Now, what's going to happen here is you'll go to your doctor and you'll say, I got injured, I hurt my back, and they'll say, talk me through your day, tell me what happened. And you'll say, oh, a bit of a history of back pain, but everything was fine that morning. I woke up, went to work, everything was great. None of these things were causing me any pain. And then I went to the gym, did a few deadlifts, felt a little bit off, and then I came to the snatch and my back went. Your doctor will say, snatches are causing your back pain, don't snatch anymore. The problem with this is anything beyond your pre-existing load is your needs and wants. So most people give up the things that they need to do or they want to do to stay pain-free. what we need you to understand is that we can reduce your pre-existing loads on your system to give you more buffer room to stay injury-free. So these things in between the snatches and you getting out of bed may not directly give you pain, but they have an impact on your performance and your capacity and when you feel pain. So let's review this, and let's say we try to improve these pre-existing loads. Anatomical defects, we can't really do much about this. That's going to remain the same. Sleep, diet, and stress. We all know that somebody who sleeps 5 hours, 6 hours a night, is really stressed, maybe with a big project at work, and is sitting eating KFC at their lunch, is not going to have as good of a capacity or be as good of a place as someone who loves their job, sleeps 8 hours a night, and focuses on their nutrition, eats whole foods, tracks their macros. So let's say we take this box down by half. Your functional diagnosis. Let's say you work with one of our coaches, we address any flexibility or mobility issues you have, then we'll move on to strength imbalances to ensure that you're moving your body appropriately and correctly. And we half this box as well. Now you can see we have a lot more room to play with. So if we add in that drive to work, we add in that 8-hour workday, if maybe sitting at a desk or manual labor, we add in deadlifts, rowing, wall balls, snatches. And all of a sudden you're asymptomatic, you're not feeling pain because we haven't went over your capacity. So we need to use this as a tool whenever we think about pain and whenever we consider pain. The goal is to understand there's a lot more going on, and we have to address lifestyle factors as well as your functional diagnosis, maybe plain simple things like flexibility, mobility, and strength imbalances. What we also need to consider is that our goal whenever we go to the gym is to increase our capacity. So the beauty of constantly varied functional movement at high intensity when delivered appropriately allows us to increase our capacity. As we train consistently over months and years, our capacity goes up. And if we can manage these pre-existing loads, this allows us to get everything done, get our needs and wants in, and then do more. Maybe sign up to a half marathon, go to that CrossFit competition, take part in the Open, and come out the other end pain-free, injury-free. And ultimately, that's what it's all about. So this graph is going to be the starting point for understanding where your pain comes from. This is load versus capacity.